Hola amigos, I hope everyone is doing really well. I just wanted to share this super simple activity, like not really activity that I did in class with my freshman students, my Spanish one, so they're novice low. How I have the curriculum set up right now is like the first month, it really is about getting to know each other. So we do a lot of entrevistas personales or special persons interview, and I usually kind of I model and I teach them like one or two questions a week, right? And then we just kind of practice. We do a lot of speed dating, and we just practice, like, again, really getting to know each other. And so this past week we were learning Cuántos años tienes, and I wanted them obviously to review numbers and things like that. And so I just made a Quizlet set for them, had them review numbers, and then I realized that every year that I do this, when we do our communicative activity, as students are like walking around the class, everyone is saying like yo tengo 13 años, yo tengo 14 años, yo tengo 15 años. So it wasn't a lot of variety, and I don't know about you guys, but I always just have such a hard time teaching numbers. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just assign everyone a number and have them go around, and they pretty much have to be like that age. So, little Johnny is going to be 16 años, and Mary's going to be 30 años, and Jamal is going to be 25 años. And so I gave them index cards, and I had them write out the number. And here's the cool creative part. So one of the kids was like, oh, can we decorate the cards? And I was like, sure, why not? So it kind of turned into like this de-stressing, number slash like, artsy fartsy type activity. And I just want to show you what they came up with. I ended up laminating them. So they have 4 here and 4 on the back. And since I did this with one of my first classes, I'm going to pretty much just reuse this, for all my classes. So I just thought it was just really, like a cool idea, and something that, any teacher could do, and it just shows also, it gave students an opportunity to like showcase like their skills. And so I'm planning on doing a lot of different activities, but again, it's super simple. And this is just an alternative for those of you who struggle with teaching numbers, I just think this is a really cool way, for us to teach numbers. So the second thing that I did in doing this, I had them come up with a T-chart. And so as they walked around the class, they had to ask ¿Cómo te llamas? Because again, we have classes every other day, so not all students know each other. And I have had classes where like the first year, let's say like halfway through the year, I'll ask a student to work with another student, and they're like, oh, what's that student's name? So I'm really big on everyone really getting to know each other, okay? So I had them make a T-chart, and like one side was like, mis compañeros de clase. And I'll draw it here, and I'll attach a little picture to the video. So mis compañeros de clase, and then on the other side it was cuántos años tiene. So obviously I went over, I asked everyone their age, and they gave this first, and then I just repeated. So I would go, cuántos años tienes tú? Cuántos años tienes? And the student would say, oh, yo tengo 5 años. And then I would just say, oh, él tiene 5 años. So after that, I created like a T-chart, and then I just have them go around and ask for the ages of like 7 students in class. And so they wrote the name, and then we just wrote out Tiene blank años. And it was just such a cool way for them to like, incorporate Tiene, for them just to see like the range, of like the verb forms, because I'm asking Tienes, they're saying Tengo, and then we have Tiene, and so next week I'm probably gonna, maybe I'll have them maybe I'll have them do some more cards, and I'll give maybe I'll double the card, so I'll have like 2 of each number, and then I'll have students say, oh, tenemos 5 años or something like that. But again, this is like a really like short activity that I was able to do with the students, and I feel like it's really gonna like drive home a lot of, I never ever teach numbers, and then we do have an upcoming story. It's a little story that I wrote. I forgot the name of it, but It's going to incorporate birthdays and numbers and things like that. So this is sort of like preparing them for that. And this is the 4th day of school, and I feel like they've learned so much. So anyway, just wanted to share. Let me share some more. So here's some more that they did. 22, 11. What is this? It's upside down over here. Oh, 29. You've already seen 34. So just an idea for class. Okay, so I want to give you guys an example of the activity that I just talked about. So here's my clipboard. I'm getting ready to go. So here's my clipboard here. So I actually wrote this on the board, and I do not have the most perfect handwriting. So just to let you know, I get students complain all the time. Is that a G? Is that a Q? Is that a P? So no Picasso here. But so on one side, you can see, I had mi compañero or compañera de clase. I use like the @ sign because I think that's a gender neutral one. And then cuántos años tiene. So the students, what they did was everyone had their little cards, and they went around the class and they had to say what age they were, right? And then after that, they wrote down the name of the student and then how old the student is. And what we did first was I put this chart on the board, and I just put Tiene blank años, and then I had students think about how they could actually like organize this to be very efficient while they're walking around class. And they gave suggestions, and they're like, oh yeah, you can just write Tiene here and you can write años here, which is also sort of reinforcing that form of the verb, right? So after we filled everything out, what I did was I just called the name of the student, and then whoever talked to that student had to share how old that student was. So I would go, ¿cuántos años tiene Derek? And then someone would go, oh, Derek tiene 5 años. And it was funny, like if the age was really low or if it was high, it was like really funny in class because they're like, él tiene 1 año, ella tiene 30 años. And I'll just add little jokes into like, oh, tú tienes 30 años, tú eres viejo para la clase de español. You're a little old for Spanish class, but that's okay. Never stop learning. So this is the idea. And, you know, honestly, it went really well. I am slowing down again this year. So last year, my goal was to slow down. And this year, the idea is to slow down even more. So I think for the past few years, I've just been accelerating in the curriculum because one of the things that I never did, and I know you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you actually are admitting to this or you did this. But one of the things that I used to do was, so we would talk about like age, and I would forget to teach the kids numbers. And then it was just like, oh, how are they going to talk about age? So now I'm just taking a step back, prioritizing all of these different components to like, you know, the learning puzzle. And then, you know, we just go really slow. I had a story for them, like I mentioned in the previous video. I had a story for them. And then I have another really cool activity that I'm going to share next week. We didn't get to it yesterday because we spent so much time on this. And then I gave them like the 10 minutes to design their cards. And it was just the perfect end to a really hectic Friday. So yeah, I hope this, I mean, if you use this or you use something better, you have a different system, please share because I'm always looking for ideas. If this is new, I hope that it works out in class.